Hello and welcome to the Primal Armor Podcast, where myself and other featured guests will be diving deep into topics that cover the four main aspects of health: physical health, mental health, emotional health, and spiritual health. Primal Armor strives to go back to the basics to give us a better foundational support to overall health and wellness that we can all try to improve on each and every day. I just want to thank you for stopping what you're doing today and taking time to listen to this podcast. Enjoy. Before we get started into the episode, I just want to take a few seconds to thank today's sponsor, Anchor Podcasts. They allow me to create and edit these podcasts for you guys. They're also the ones who distribute this podcast to other platforms such as Spotify and the Apple Podcast app on your phone, so you guys can listen to it anywhere at any time. It's everything needed all in one app. I encourage you all to get started today. Go download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm and follow the podcast. We're back again for another week of the Primal Armor Podcast. Week 4 is going to consist of a listener-suggested topic. The other day, I put up a poll on what others wanted to hear for the next topic on the podcast, and I got many responses. Although, one suggestion just really made me sit back and think for a second. Someone asked me, how do you keep up with enthusiasm and consistency when life gets stressful? And then this just made me really step back and think for a second and look at the big picture of what I've been preaching the last couple of weeks. I'm so passionate about all this. It's so easy for me to just wake up every day and dedicate my time and effort towards physical health. It's easy to go to bed early at night and just make sure I'm getting proper recovery. It's easy to meal prep, eat the same things day in and day out, and make sure I'm getting the proper nutrition in my diet. And it's just easy for me to get my body moving throughout the day. It's just something that's been ingrained in me since a very young age. So sometimes I forget the fact that others don't have that same drive and passion as I do. In the recent podcast, I've been putting into perspective how unhealthy our world is today, giving examples of exactly what we're doing wrong, and challenging us to take those steps forward to make a better and healthier life. But sometimes life just gets in the way. You just never know what's going to come up in life. And it just seems like every time you have it figured out and you have life going the way you want it, you're getting back on your feet, life just throws that curveball at you, and just to make sure you're not in cruise control. Maybe a simple stress, such as big test coming up at school, job interview, or other things that will simply come and go in your life. And these are all things that we deal with on a daily basis. But then there's the other big stresses in life that it brings us, and these are complete life changers. They can be good things, such as a baby being born or a job promotion that just brings added stress into our daily routines. But then there's the stress that you just really can't ever seem to get past, like a death of a loved one, a divorce, being told you have cancer, things like these. These carry the weight of stress that just seem to be endless. They can completely rock your world and send you down a spiral that you think you'll never be able to come back and recover from. These are all things that life throws at us at any unexpected moment, and we can just never seem to be prepared for. The only way to be able to overcome these stressful life events are with proper knowledge and a strong enough mindset. So let's just revisit some of the things I covered in the last couple of podcasts. If you haven't listened to those yet, you should definitely go back and listen to me cover those in a little more detail. When talking about the exercise aspect of health, I covered that there are so many benefits with coming along and getting your heart pumping and your body moving. There are so many, I couldn't even list them all. One of the most important ones that people don't realize is the role that exercise plays in your hormonal balance. When we exercise, our body releases these things called endorphins throughout our entire body. These, very simply put, are feel-good hormones that make you just feel more energetic and attentive throughout the day. When feeling stress that life brings us, we should be trying to get up and help release these endorphins by moving and exercising. This is one way to create that natural stress reliever. Everything else is going to come from your mindset and just how you face the storms life will continue to throw at you and how you take them head on without letting it slow you down. Everyone has their own list of priorities in their life and what order they're going to put them in. Taking care of our own health seems to just be getting lower and lower and lower on that list as the years go by. We need to get in the right mindset now that we know the proper benefits of exercise and nutrition and make that more of a priority in our lives. Because eating better makes us feel better. Exercise makes us feel better. Doing these things properly will help offset the stress that you're going through in your life. Keeping consistency in these daily stressors will depend on your own internal motivation, your own internal drive, because you know the benefits. On days when you don't have that internal motivation, don't have that internal drive, because let's just face it, everyone has those type of days, and it's probably a reason why this question was raised in the first place. So on those days, you just got to do it anyway. It may be 100 times harder to do it on a day like that, but you'll be happy once you did it and once you're done. You just got to do it for yourself and do it because you know you're bettering yourself just for the next day. Strive to be a better you, even on the hard days. The person next to you might take that day off. Don't let that be you. Set an example. Raise the standard. But sometimes there's just something that life throws our way that is just so overwhelming, you're not going to be able to work past it that easy. These are traumatic life events that literally throw off the chemical and hormonal balances in your body so much that we can start to see a decline in our health because of the changes that we make in our lives. And I can fully vouch for this. If you listened to the first episode, you can recall how I brought up how the last year had taken me down to complete rock bottom in my life. I was in cruise control. I felt like I had everything going for me. I had a full-time job. I had a bachelor's degree. I was halfway on my way to a master's degree. I was married. I had a house. My car was paid off. I was just living comfortably. I was in cruise control. Then, all of a sudden, in what seemingly felt like hours and days, I was divorced, I lost my house, and I was living back in my old high school bedroom. I struggled to get out of bed every day. I wasn't eating. I dropped 20 pounds in less than a month, and I was just in that downward spiral that I felt like I was never going to be able to overcome or get out of. I couldn't even muster up the energy to get out of bed, let alone go exercise and focus on my diet or anything like that. So I fully understand that there are moments in life when it is so hard to just get into the groove of everything. Just everything that I've been preaching. I knew the benefits that could have helped me if I got out of bed, started eating right again, and began to exercise. But I couldn't do this on my own. And the only thing that got me through this was my faith. I had always had a relationship with God, but it's nowhere near what it is today. And I just had to realize that God wasn't going to put me in a situation that I wasn't going to be able to handle or even come out better on the other side. God has a plan for everything that happens in your life, and you just have to make everything a learning experience. Life isn't in your control, and that is why at any single moment, your life can be turned upside down. But then again, at any single moment, life can give you blessings that you just never even thought were imaginable. You just have to put your hope and faith in God that this is true. That's what I did. I felt like my life was over. I was 23 years old, divorced, and living with my parents again, and nothing seemed to be going for me. Once I finally put every single thing that I had in God and made that the priority in my life, things started getting better. I began to have a more positive outlook on life, and it finally got me out of that downward spiral. I became the happiest I have ever been in my life. I reconnected with many of my old friends. I had the opportunity to push and finally start this podcast, which has been one of the best and most fun decisions I've ever made in my life. I believe all these things came to me because of how I strengthened my faith and my relationship with God. And I also began counseling, which I brought up in the first episode, and that was also one of the best things I could have done. That was a situation that I was just not going to be able to overcome and handle on my own. My knowledge and mindset wasn't just going to help me get past that, because that was just such a traumatizing and traumatic event. I had to seek help from other people, and that was the hardest thing I ever could have done. Admitting that I needed help, especially as a male, when you're looked upon to be the strong one and supposed to be the one who's put together, to admit that you're broken and that you need strength of other people and help of other people, that's the hardest thing to do. But it was the best thing I ever could have done for my life. And I encourage everyone that if they feel like they're in a boat like this, it's so worth getting help. It's so hard to admit, but it really does help. And I believe that you're actually stronger to be able to admit that than trying to prove your strength by bottling things up and just pushing it to the side. Because life will inevitably put you in these situations at some point. In these moments, you need to be able to seek others for help. The foundation of everything starts with God, and all other relationships in life will be affected by this. You have to prioritize that before you can prioritize anything else in life. Then, you can seek other professional help if needed. They'll help you get back on your feet when you just feel like you need to get back to the life you were living before, or even to just get a better life. And you just also need to be able to establish good relationships with others in your life, whether it's family, friends, other loved ones, because those are the people that you deal with on an everyday basis, and they can help you get through those stresses in life as well. When your life gets rocked, just like mine did, or whether it's a similar situation, like a death in a family, diagnosis of something like cancer, or just any other terrible news that would put you in a position like this, that's when you're unable to handle this on your own. You need to seek help, seek God's help, seek professional help, and seek help from your loved ones. But situations like that are few and far between. Usually you're going to be dealing with those daily stressors that just aren't the end of the world. Those are things that you can and will get past. I want to take today and challenge you. When you are having one of those days where you feel like you have no motivation or desire to get moving throughout the day, when life's got the best of you in school, work, home life, anything, I just want to challenge you to take a bit of time out of your day and focus on yourself. Focus on your self-care. Focus on eating right and taking care of your body. Focus on getting moving every day. Release some of that stress. Release those endorphins we were talking about. It's natural. Your body wants to make them and release them. So take advantage of that free, quick, easy stress reliever. I get that it's easier to stay home. I get that it's easier to skip it for a day. But do yourself a favor and make yourself better. Be better than the next person who may be in the same boat as you, but doesn't have the same mindset as you. Doesn't have the drive to get up and do these things. Like I said earlier, set an example to all those around you. Raise the standard. And that phrase is just a little sneak peek into next week's episode. We're going to dive into and really cover what it takes to raise the standard of where we're at and what we've set as the standard of health in today's society. So again, I challenge you this week to just be that example towards others. Take the small steps, even on the days when you don't feel like it. It'll only benefit you and leave you feeling better in the end. I also want to challenge you to share this message with others, friends, family, all of your loved ones. Just try to get them on the same page as you. Get everyone who matters to you working towards better health. Make the days count. Don't count the days. So until next time, spread the word, and I'll be working on bringing you guys the next podcast.